Hello, friends, and I'm back with this nice white wall behind me because I have moved apartments. My new Airbnb is a bit smaller, and I'm turning the camera so you can see the full view with the one exception that I have not shown you the restroom. But other than that, that's all to it. Don't have a cooktop here, so I'm having to go out and be a little bit more inventive about the food I eat. I do get a kettle so I can boil water, so I'm having morning coffee and doing those sorts of things. I've had a really productive week. I've done a lot of work on my manuscript, and I've been writing a lot. Don't know if it's very good writing, but I am writing, and that's a good thing. Last Sunday I came in. The next pictures will show you where I used to live. And now this is where I have moved to. And in terms of my neighborhood. I'm much more centrally located now. I'm just by the Central Railway Station in Warsaw, which is convenient for a lot of different things, including a lot of different restaurants. I have lots and lots of choices, although I try to limit myself to once a day going out to eat. Real nice walks. One of the things that I've done that some of you are aware of is that yesterday I got a new tattoo, and it says Vilna, Ukraina, which means free Ukraine. And it's not just about Ukraine, it really sums up this last 16 years of my experiences in this part of the world and what I hope for this part of the world and what I believe, which is that these people who live in the post-Soviet space deserve every right that anyone else has. They're good people, they work hard, they try really hard, they live in some hardship, one of which is that they have a neighbor that invades people. And I want them to have a good and positive future. So that's what I hope for in this part of the world. I was at the Central Railway Station day before yesterday and took some pictures, which I'll show you now. From all over. I'm supposed to get to volunteer with a group that goes and meets the people that are coming in to join the fighters in Ukraine. They needed some English speakers to meet the Legion that would be coming in. And that was something that I was looking forward to doing, but my shift got delayed. So hopefully I'll be there later this week. I want to do something that's more tangible than working on my kind of stuff. So that's going to be my opportunity to do some volunteer work. By all accounts, from the people I talked to in Ukraine, it is miserable there. So the Russians are firing missiles and apartment buildings are being taken out, and people are living in train stations or subway stations for days now. They're not even leaving. In Kyiv, food is still available, but it is not plentiful. In Kharkov, I've heard that food is available, but you have to stand in a very long line to get any. In Mariupol, I've heard about a lot of both fighters who incurred casualties and also civilians who have died. In Mariupol, the civilian count is now up to about 2,000, or better than that now, higher than that, sorry, not better, but higher than that now. And it's very, very sad to know that Ukrainian people who 4 weeks ago were living a normal life are now suffering in the midst of a war. And a war that doesn't seem to have a whole lot of meaning, I think, to many of us who look at it from the nearby areas. I think it does have more meaning if you think about the meaning of individual rights and some of the things that I write about, like the rights of people and identity of nation states and that sort of thing, this has a lot of meaning. And we see something that looks like a clash of civilizations in a way that maybe we haven't seen before. And it's not the clash of civilizations that I think a lot of people have been talking about for the last 25 years, which is a Christian Islam clash, which I don't see as prominently. I think there are some zealots both amongst the Christians and amongst the Islamic cultures. So I'm not a sayer that Islam is different from Christianity. They're both religions that preach peace, and they have a few followers who don't like to follow peace. But this is a different kind of clash. This is a clash between an authoritarian government that's run by a dictator, which really has a collective mindset that Russians believe that everything, or Russians are taught that everything should be given to the state. And the only value of an individual is how they serve the state. I'm not so sure that that's permeated all Russians. There's a number of younger Russians who are very open-minded and forward-thinking and really identified with Western ideals. I don't think the oligarchs believe that they have to give everything they have to the state, because they certainly don't, and they live very, very comfortable lives. But I do think that for the vast majority of Russians, both those that grew up in Soviet times and since, they are acclimatized to being expected to make sacrifices for the state. Putin has even said very boldly that Russians don't mind suffering for Russia. I'm not sure he's right, though. He may be wrong about this. I think he also thought that Westerners were fat and lazy and wouldn't react negatively to what was going on. I don't think he ever expected the Ukrainian people to rise up the way they have. So I think there's some misconceptions, but if you look at what Ukraine and the Ukrainian people, for the most part, have wanted, is that they want to have the power to chart their own destiny. They want individual rights, they want freedoms. In some ways, Ukraine is eager to join the European community of nations and not to be in the Russian community of nations. They don't want to live in a collective society, and it's not just about economics. Economics are an important part of it, and I'm not saying that free economics are not important. But what I find with Ukrainians is they really, really want the opportunity to control their own destiny. And so I think that's very important in understanding this conflict. And I am very much on the side of people who fight in order to protect individual rights. I mean, that's a cornerstone of my beliefs in the American democracy model. And we'll talk about the American democracy model and its weaknesses at some point. But right now, I mean, I think this is what the Ukrainians want. They want a chance to live by the ideals that we've been very comfortably raised in all of our lives in the United States. So I support the fighters going. I'm not a violent person. I don't advocate violence, but I will take a colloquial saying which says, freedom isn't free. If you think a little bit about it, it really isn't. Freedom requires sacrifice and courage and bravery. And for the people who are coming in to fight in Ukraine to help to protect the ideals of individual rights and the ideals of people being able to chart their own destiny, I think that this is something that I fully support. I don't want these people to get killed. I don't want anybody to get killed. Just killing in this kind of conflict seems pointless in 2022. But it is the reality of what's going on in this case. And so I want to lend a hand however I can. So that's most of my vlog tonight. Once I finally get down to the airport to greet the fighters who are coming in, I will tell you more about that experience. I probably won't take pictures because I don't want to violate their privacy as individuals or anonymity as individuals. And we know that the Russians are actively looking for information about people who are coming in and have said that they will put a target on the back of outsiders who come in to fight for Ukraine. Ironically and kind of humorously, one of the ways that the British say the Ukrainians have been tracking the movements of Russian troops is by dating applications, because the troops still have on their dating applications as they are moving in Ukraine. One of the dating applications is the gay dating site Grindr. So in reality, this is true from what I understand. It's true from what I understand. Ukrainians are being able to track Russian troop movements using the application Grinder, which, if nothing else, tells us the world is a wacky place in 2022. In all honesty, I hope peace for Ukraine and peace for everyone else, and a free Ukraine in the future, free all of us.